Okay, lesson 100, simplifying decimals. A couple rules that go along with decimals and more like conventions. You can take off extra zeros from the front and the back of a number, but you can't take them off if they're in between two numbers that aren't zero. So let's take a look just a minute. It's going to be a really short lesson because this is really not so hard. Okay, if I messed up there, so ignore that. If I have this number here, and I said I can take off the extra zeros in front, so that one's in front, so I can get rid of that one. I can take off the ones in the back, so that one. I can't take that one off because it's in between two numbers that aren't zero. So this one simplifies to 2.01 or 2 1/100th. Okay, here I can take off this zero. You can't take off that zero because it's in between a decimal, so that 20 and 2 aren't the same thing, so that seems pretty obvious. So that one simplifies to 20. And I can take off these zeros here. I usually leave that one because I would read that as 0 and 2/10, and you wouldn't want to read it just as and 2/10. So you have to leave that 0 there. So that one simplifies to 0.2. Okay? So tricky a little bit, not do or die rules. Okay, example 1 says simplify 6 50/100ths. Okay, I said I can take off extra zeros on the end, so I can get rid of that. It simplifies to 6.5. Example 2. It says I want to add some zeros. Remember when we were adding decimals and we had to fill in empty spaces with zeros? So they said change this 5 to 5 and a 0 without changing the value. So I still want it to be 5. If I add a decimal and a 0, it's the same thing. I could also add a decimal and a bunch of zeros if I needed to. It's still just 5. All that indicates is I've measured it more accurately. If I tell you I've measured something and it's 5 feet tall, you think, oh, okay, about 5 feet. If I've measured it and it's 5.0 feet, you think, oh, she measured it pretty closely, 5 0.0. If I did this, she measured it with a laser scope because it's so accurate. So that's the only difference, and that's more for science than it is for 5th grade math. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple more. If I have 0 in the front, I don't need it, do I? That's pretty, normally you don't see like 0.3. So get rid of that and you end up with 3 4/10 or 3.4. If I have 101.0, I can get rid of that 0 on the end. I don't need it unless I'm showing measurement. Again, more for science than for math. So I can get rid of that. Then that takes the decimal away, and I end up with 101. I can't get rid of that because it's in the middle of two numbers. And you know 11 and 101 are not the same amount, so I can't get rid of that 0. In this one, I have 0.60809. I can't get rid of anything, can I? Because those zeros are in between two non-zero digits. In other words, a 6 and an 8, an 8 and a 9. So that one I can't simplify. Even though it looks long and complicated, it's already simplified. Have to leave that 0 on front because, again, I don't want to say and 60809. I want to say 0 and 60809. Okay, does that make sense? All right, that's the whole lesson. Easy.